Thank you. Good morning. Today is Friday, June the 9th, 2023. This is a regular meeting of the Darien Board of Education Policy Subcommittee. We are trying to determine when our next meeting date will be, so it's currently to be determined. This morning, we're going to review a number of essentially updated and cleanup edits to a number of existing policies. I'd like to kick off by saying that we have received numerous emails and communications from parents regarding issues around social media policy, around book policy, and around other issues. We're not going to be taking up any of those issues today, not because they lack importance, only because it's difficult work to get that done properly. We're going to work with our attorneys, Shipman and Goodwin, to make sure we can understand the contours of what the law is in Connecticut, so we can come and have a fully informed debate as to what we're able to do and not able to do, and be able to work within those constraints to come up with meaningful policy to reflect the needs and desires of our parents and our student community. So with that, I will turn over to today's business, which is review of new policies revision to policies 4125, evaluation, termination, and non-renewal of athletic coaches, 4175, prohibition on recommendations for psychotropic drugs, 4225, plan for minority educator recruitment, 4250, employment checks, and finally 4275, Family and Medical Leave Act. Alan or Marge?
So we're continuing to work our way through the policy audit document. We're in the 4,000s now. We have a few to clean up at some point in the 5,000s and 6,000s. So after this, we would move to 9,000s in the Board of Education. So the first policy, 4125, the policy has been revised. It now defines the athletic director. You need to be an athletic director to evaluate coaches. And so this just complies with the law. Policy 4175, it's just technical changes and legal references. Policy 4225, minority staff recruitment, is the same. Policy 4250, employee checks. The district is already doing all of this, but there are a lot of procedural changes that have evolved over time. Student teachers are now required to have background checks. Adult education programs are exempt. It's just really technical changes to what we're already doing. And the same with policy 4275, family and medical leave. They've cleaned up, eliminated the reference to same-sex marriages in light of changes in the law. The genetic information non-discrimination act reference has been updated. This policy helps the district in that people have questions all the time about their leave under the Family and Medical Leave Act. And so it gives guidance. So it's, a hard place for people to look to make sure that we're complying with the law. That's it for today.
Thank you. Alan, did you have any comment on these? No. Anyone on the board have any comments on the first read here?
Not on these, no.
Okay, being that was the subject of today's agenda, and there are no questions.
Can I just ask a question about I appreciate your comments about the social media policy and the curriculum policy.
Right.
Is it the intent to, at our next meeting, which hopefully, it was my understanding that we would get this done by the end of these two policies done by the end of the school year. Is that your intent to have it done in June?
No, it's not going to happen by June. My understanding is with other work that our council has, that's going to be not possible to be done by June. And my understanding is we've given them a deadline for mid-July. From what I understand, that deadline will be met. I haven't heard any different. Any updates on that?
So I guess my question is the scope of the work that needs to be done by mid-July. Is it the two that you referenced, or about how many will we take up, I guess, in July?
So I think the immediate is probably those two, but I guess the question on timeline for looking at other policies that are related to the sort of touched on the changes that we're looking to make would be helpful. So whatever guidance they could give us, but definitely I think we'd like to see the two by
So the
mid-July.
social media and the challenges to
And the
curriculum?
challenges to instructional policy are the two that I think we need to do ASAP.
Okay.
And continuing the audit is.
Yeah, and then an estimate. I think we need to get an idea of the scoping of the other work and what the time will be on that. The curriculum related items as well. And so hopefully we can figure that out. I'd like to see that done sometime over the summer at the very latest, but if we can't do it by this meeting in July, then at least those two, but I would like to see things move forward.
What do you mean by curriculum related items.
So the policy committee was charged to look at curriculum. And so as part of that, we have various policies that touch on it. Some may be related, some not. So our first question for the lawyers is really scoping. Is this tied in, and where do we stand in terms of what we can look at and what we can't? And then we'll come back and have more information, but there's no point having an argument here at the sub-policy level until we figure out what the actual contours are based on the law.
I'm not looking for an argument. I just want to understand where we are.
Yeah, no, totally
Yeah, I
agree.
think there was a lot of policies that had like just little bits and pieces that it's like, well, if you look at one, what about?
Right, but we also have to take our direction from the full board, not like, we can't cherry pick what we want to do. So,
No, I realize that. I'm just saying, having read the policies myself, that it just seemed, I know that I had questions about different policies that, you know, and now we've just been waiting for the attorneys. Is there any way we could put, I appreciate the comments you made, put something in writing that we can respond to these parents? Like, I feel like parents feel like we're not, but we're just really waiting for attorneys at this point to tell us what we can and can't do, correct? Like, kind of.
I mean, that's kind of the point, but I mean, we may have an idea of what a policy should be for social media. And I can say it, you can say it, and we can all at this table have a different opinion. And then we go to the attorneys and say, hey, we want to do X, and they say, no, you can't do that. So in terms of thinking about efficiency, how we do this, we do need some guidance. I would say it's akin to the budget process. We don't just sit and like spitball what the number should be. Alan gives us a presentation and then we work around that. So I think this is going to be the same thing. We're going to have a body work, gives an idea where we are, what we can do, and what we, and then we can make refinements from there.
So can I just clarify too? So for both of these policies, Shipman and Goodwood had vetted policies for us, but my understanding is that we want to make changes to those policies. So I'm happy to tell them, but social media, they have a model policy, and the curriculum challenge, they don't have a model policy, but they had vetted it for a couple of other districts.
Have they shown that to us at all?
So we brought the curriculum.
we have
challenge.
the curriculum challenge that we've seen.
But I think the objection was that we didn't have an underlying curriculum policy to write, if I remember correctly, was that,
I don't remember the curriculum.
So I think, just my correct me, I think the challenge to the curriculum, challenge to the instructor.
Right.
We brought that forward to this. So I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not sure that they have another policy or we suggested another policy. I don't think that's just.
no, they, again, had vetted it for a couple of other districts. They're not suggesting a model policy in that, but they understand that districts may
So-
want them
Right.
now.
So that's, Mr. Chairman, that's still sitting there, if anytime you want to bring that back again, because it's, I think the intent was to look at the curriculum first. But I don't have to wait individually for it, because we.
Yeah, I mean-
Look at it if you want.
No, again, I appreciate that, Ellen. I think the question is just what's going to be the most efficient process here. And given, we're going to be constrained by whatever the laws the state gives us, we can't just do whatever we want. So we do need that guidance from council.
To me, I would love to see those, like, to have these sample policies to the social media and the challenge policy put in front of us. Whatever Shipman recommends, and say, do we like these? Do we not like these? What needs to change? What doesn't like?
No, totally agree. And I was
Yeah.
hopeful we would have that by now. Unfortunately, we don't. So
I do.
hopefully that'll be mid-July.
It's my understanding that we had those, but okay.
Awesome. Any further comment?
No, my only comment was like, can we put something in writing to parents to let them know?
It's my understanding that Duke has a response that
Oh,
he's
does he?
sending.
Oh, okay. Great,
Good.
perfect,
That's great news.
perfect.
Any public comments?
There are no raised hands at this time.
Anyone in the audience? Seeing nobody here.
We're just a
turn
public
back
comment.
around.
We're a public comment.
Second public comment. Don't even bother saying that.
Entertain a motion to adjourn if anybody's so interested. And that concludes today's policy meeting. Thank you all for being in attendance.
Thank you. You know,